the podcast industry just got a little less competitive because Meghan Markle has ended her podcast collaboration with Spotify. Meghan Markle's $25 million podcast deal with Spotify has been ended 2 years early, I believe. Now, they were contracted to Spotify, Meghan and Harry, and I think Meghan did a podcast called Archetypes. And basically, I think they had an agreement to do like a bunch of episodes over a few years, and they didn't meet the content. They didn't make enough content to like reach the full payout, so they're not even being paid the full amount. They did 12 episodes of this podcast, and it was like very lukewarm received. Find this really interesting. A lot of people have now come out and been like, Meghan Markle isn't good audio talent, and I agree with that. You know what? I'm really neutral now on the whole Meghan and Harry thing. I've talked about it enough, but I think I want to talk about it more in the podcast scheme of things. And I have complained about it before as an independent podcaster who just makes my own stuff, right? There is this saturation now, and of course it was always going to happen, and it sucks. I actually hate it. Of just like famous people just doing podcasts as another thing that they do. Can be done well, but generally I just think it lacks any kind of integrity. Like when I do this show, like, you know what? It's hard to even say that and put those words out there. But like Meghan Markle doing a podcast, of course she is. Like, and of course people are going to listen to it. And of course it's going to like steal attention and steal ears. And it's like, I always think like people like me who are just making independent podcasts, like I'll never get to that point because of all these famous people just who are like, you're famous, do a podcast. And most of the time, and I did a tweet about this week, most podcasts now that I see are just like, either A, I'm famous and every week I talk to another person who's one of my friends that's also famous and we just talk shit for an hour. The other one is, I'm not that famous, but every week I talk to a funny person about what makes them funny and are they funny? You know, how did they become funny? Just talk about that. And it's like the same podcast over and over again. Like, oh, it's just me spinning a yarn with my mates. And I feel like that's not a format. And I'm trying to build this show to have a format. Like, you know, what this show is. It's a format. And I think coming back to Meghan Markle, it's just like thinking that everyone who's famous is inherently a good podcaster and inherently a good broadcaster in general or a good speaker that can create engaging content. I see it a lot. And Spotify in Australia notoriously like canned a lot of their Spotify original Australia podcasts. There were lots of influencers that just got signed to podcasts and then they did like 12 episodes of them and then it suddenly just got... Apparently Spotify just cut all funding because Spotify thought, all of these people on TikTok have like 1 million followers. So if we do a podcast, they're going to get like hundreds of thousands of dollars. But Spotify wasn't ready for that. They didn't have... I don't think they had the resources to make those shows work. And the resources, just to support them. And they all got sort of axed. Like you'll find a lot of those Spotify originals aren't running. Some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. And I just think it's just interesting for the podcast industry. Meghan Markle leaving, like they're all sort of blaming her for being a bad on-air talent. And to be honest, guys, Spotify, if you want to know what good audio talent looks like, this guy. But seriously, I think it's probably like... I think it's just an easy way for Spotify to like get rid of people and get a lot of money back that they poorly invested and stuff like that.